بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أما بعد. So I normally give a little bit of a preamble and then we get into the lecture today. I'm just going to jump straight into it because I've got quite a bit to say. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, and I say the word family to you. What do you think? You think about your parents, maybe your siblings, your children. If you're married, you think about your wife and your kids, right? But just to kind of break it down, there are three phases to our lives. I'm sure you remember we were small, growing up in our parents' home, right? Then we're adults, and our parents are generally still around for most of us. Thereafter, we are adults after our parents have passed away. Those are the three effective main phases in your life. Phase one, your relationship with your parents and their relationship with you. Phase two, it's you trying to maintain a relationship with your parents while building relationships with your spouse and your children, extended family, etc. Right? Is everyone with me? Am I talking too fast now? Right? I told you I have to jump straight into this because there's lots. And then afterwards, you're now a little bit older, advanced age. I don't want to give numbers. Some brothers take offense. You're a bit older, and your children now have their children, and they've now built their connections in life. And your children are now where you were in phase two. Now that you moved on to phase three, your parents are no longer around. So your relationship, your family basically is your kids. If you're lucky, your siblings, and then they start going, your siblings, children, etc. So that's what we refer to usually when we say family, right? And over the last few weeks, I have just noticed a great discrepancy, a great lack in society in general with regards to the family unit, the family structures. I recently had some sessions with some youth, and having gone through the issues and the difficulties that they're facing, we're talking 13 and up, from drug abuse to zina, we're talking 15-year-old brothers and sisters in Islam, 15-year-olds, boys and girls alike. We are talking rejection, parents are being divorced, they're being dragged in and out of court, etc. The great discrepancy is our understanding of family and what my role is in a family. Many of us don't know this, but or don't think about it the way I do. There were divorces in the Sahaba circles as well. Abu Bakr Siddiq was divorced from his first wife. The mother of Aisha, Asma bint Abi, he wasn't married to her. Okay? Aisha and Asma bint Abi Bakr, for instance, effectively grew up in a broken home. Right? But did that cause them to break a family structure? That I may not be living with you in the same house, but does that now mean I'm not your parent anymore? Does that now give, now what normally happens, and I have to say this, unfortunately, normally the women keep the children, right? In a divorce. And then they use that now as their means of getting back at their ex-husband. They play their children up against the ex-husband, badmouth him, insult him, keep the kids away, etc., etc. Effectively, what you are doing, my dear sister in Islam, and if it's the husband who's got the children and he's doing that to his ex-wife, what you are doing is teaching your child to dishonor his parent. And tomorrow, when that child is big, he will have no respect for a parent-child relationship. He will not honor his own children. And he will not honor you as his parent either. And who is the cause of this? Me, as the parent who's doing this. You understand? So we need to, and back to the youth. I mean, 15-year-olds making zina. My question to you, brothers and sisters in Islam, where are the parents? Where are the parents? How does a 15-year-old have access to that? It's only when the parents are not actively involved in the child's life, or the parents have got their own life and the children have got their own life. And what happens, and after, what is this? The victim, sorry, I have to think in various languages generally, right? The victims in this entire scenario, depending on the phase, is always going to be the children. That's how it is. Yes, we know children are resilient, okay? They can make a lot of sabr, they can go through a lot, they'll still grow up. But it has an effect on them. So I'm going to come back to phase one. Parents and their children. The relationship between the parents and the children, children and the parents. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we have to, as parents, create a an environment in my home where my children feel welcome, where they feel safe. My children must want to come home. How many of us can say that my children can't wait to come back home? How many of us are facing a situation with teenage children looking for every conceivable excuse to be out of the house? Why? Why is that? Because we have not created the environment in our home where our children feel happy and feel welcome and feel safe. The other thing is, I know myself, for instance, I'm a millennial, right? So now we come with this mindset, I don't want to do to my kids what my parents did to me, right? So now hidings are out. This is a moment, millennials. If you're a parent of a millennial, understand, we needed lots of hiding to make it. So, am I creating an environment in my home where my child feels the need to escape and then run away to other people where they can be themselves? And then am I maybe allowing my children too much freedom? Because like I said, we're millennials and maybe a little bit the age group above us as well, that, I don't want to be so restrictive like my parents were. Or I'm being affected by the Western ideology of opinionatedness, and my children have an opinion, and children's rights. And yes, children have rights, but children have rights in Islam within limits. You understand? Like freedom of speech, for instance, mashallah. Does that give my child the right to swear me in my face? Because freedom of speech. So let's get back to that first phase of our lives, right? We need to, as parents, create that environment in the home where the children feel safe. My child must be able to express his emotions. Dad, I'm angry. Why? Because I'm not happy with the way you spoke to me. I must be able to welcome that kind of criticism from my child. Why? What did I say? Well, you swore at me. But it's wrong to swear at my child. Why did I swear at my child? You understand? He has the right to be upset. But the problem is, and this is, you never know how sarcastic you are until you have a mini-me being sarcastic with you too. So my life is digging the cupboard. And when we do stuff and we don't want him to see it or know, Dad, what's that? Hassa met lang ore. I asked him the other day, what you doing? It's just Hassa. It's just Hassa. Now I can't be upset because it's Hassa for him too. So why can't it be Hassa for me? You understand? It's a nice way of saying it's not your business. Yeah, you remember that? Anyway. So I have this habit. Son falls, or he drops something. Well done, well done. And then I drop something. Well done, man, well done. You understand? Because we speak to them. So if I want my child to grow up with respect, I'll never forget. I have a friend, Adi, in the USA. I've never heard a man speak so respectfully and decently to his child. And his words to me were, if I'm not going to speak to my child like that, how can I expect him to speak to me or anybody else like that? So my child doesn't know swear words because we don't swear. My child doesn't know sarcasm because we're not sarcastic. In Urdu, you use the, no, it sounds funny, in Afrikaans the word aap, but aap in Urdu is a very respect, it's like saying u. In Afrikaans, you, with 2 dots on, originally, now it's just a u. Okay? So u is a very respectful term. We don't even use it anymore for elders, right? It's only like for Allah now. But a small u is for elders, capital U for Allah, right? And in Urdu, you have the expression aap. They speak to their toddler. Aap kaise hain? Aap kya farma rahe hain? How are, it's like saying, hoe gaan dit met u? Wat is u besig om te doen? Like, how do I say this in English? What art thou doing? You understand? How art thou? That's basically how they speak to their child. You must hear that like they speak. He doesn't use normal pronouns for any, he speaks only respectfully. And it's amazing to see. And children are going to be naughty, right? Toddlers are going to fiddle. That's why I asked my friend, what's your latest name? He said Petrus, want hy Peter met alles. He fiddles with everything, so I called him Fiddler, right? So, toddlers are going to be naughty. Now, I'll never forget an incident. I walked into my house, and my child had messed up all the spices in the kitchen. So we had this little jar, and all the spices in the little pandoki, and she mixed everything up. And I became angry, and I punished my child for messing around. But Adil's son did the same thing. And he walked into the kitchen, oh, mashallah, are you trying to cook? And he used that opportunity to explain to his child, who was a toddler the same age as mine, that, You mustn't dig in the kitchen cupboards because that's mommy's things. Everything has a place. All these spices taste differently. That's why they're in different pieces, different little containers, in different sections. And when you're cooking, you use them separately. We even use different spoons. And he made that a lesson and a bonding opportunity. Now I ask the parents again, is my first response to my child reprimanding, fighting, shouting, expecting him to be a robot? Or do I use and capitalize every event in my child's life, which is a journey of growth towards an adult? Do I use that as an opportunity to bond with him and grow with him? How many of us can say, I still play Legos with my child, or I play with my child with the toys? Or the son says, Dad, can we play this? Can we play that? Do I? Or my daughter, Dad, don't you want to come and be my dog? For those who've got daughters, then they want to plait your hair, for those of us long hair, and they want to put makeup for you. And Dad, can I paint your toenails? And you must sit there with your, like, because little girls want to pamper their dad. How many of us give our child that opportunity? Or, and I'm going to take you now to phase 2 when you've got teenage children, and or towards the end of phase 1, you've got teenage children, but you're not old yet, so you still consider yourself a youth, and you still want to live and have fun. Do we now look for every opportunity to get rid of our child? Keep him out of our head. Too happy to hear my son wants to go and sleep over by his friend. What's your friend's name? Shakir. Meantime, the is silent at the end. He wants to just more than sleep over there. And then what happens when Shakir, the silent comes home pregnant, then quickly I want to make a nikah. And Imam Zak must jump in and save the day. Brother, where were you when your laddie was by Shakira for the weekend? You understand? I had a case, I told the father of the boy and the girl and her father, you're called Amal Box. All of you do that. Because you as a father allowed your child out of the house. You as a father weren't there to support him. You as a father knew what he was doing and you said, they must make their own mistakes in life. Really? And then tomorrow when your child is a drug dealer, drug addict, fraudster, criminal, no, that's the decisions he's made in his life. He must, or one of the worst ones I've heard, he's mukallaf now, he can do what he wants. Your child cannot do what he wants when he becomes violent. The child cannot just do what he wants because he's violent now. Because everything your child does is going to have a direct implication on you. We need to create, like I said, the environment that my child mustn't feel the need to go out. That doesn't mean that I must give my child every conceivable freedom in the house, like some parents. No, bro, if you want to get stoned, but just get stoned in the house. So if you fall off the couch, at least I'm there to save you. Understand? If you want to get drunk and experience, children experiment with these things, Imam. Well done. Just get drunk in the house so that anything happens, at least I know where you are. That's not how you do it. And it comes from me as a parent. What is the level and extent of my involvement in my child's life? That is only parent and child. I'm imploring you. Go and do some research into your child's life. Actually sit down and chat with them. You'd be surprised. They're not interesting individuals there. Promise you, they're more interesting than you think. And your child, small ones, they're smarter than we give them credit for. Just to give your child a phone, or put your child in front of a TV with a PlayStation, or send your child to their friends so that they can go and do what they want, so you can do what you want, that is not only irresponsible, but my brothers and sisters in Islam, you are not fulfilling the right of your child. I have a friend, he recently got diagnosed with COVID, and he was terribly ill, him and his wife, terribly ill. And he met me weeks after he had recovered, and he said he cannot be more grateful to Allah for inspiring him to teach his children the importance of family and drawing together and being there for one another. Because when him and his wife were sick, the kids were there every day, helping, pulling resources, assisting. They were together. He said there was so much support, he didn't need support from anybody else. How many of us can say the same thing? Facets of our relationship. I just wanted to focus on that one, not the second phase when you're adult and you've got children and your parents are adults. Just that. Let us focus on that. And it's never too late. Never too late to go back and tell your child, you know what? Let's work on this relationship. That concept of I want to be my child's friend is very erroneous. You're not your child's friend. You're your child's mentor. You can be friendly, that's for sure. But you're not your child's buddy. Because you are teaching your child disrespect. You're teaching your child that you can speak to anybody as though he's a peer and an equal. And then that level of respect for elders slowly dwindles. And then you'll walk up to the masjid, how's it? And you'll call everybody by their first name. The old uncles, they walk in the masjid, he'll bump the old uncle out the way and put his shoe in there and walk inside. Why? Because the concept of giving preference to seniors and elders wasn't taught. Right? May Allah give us tawfiq and understanding. Now, the next element that I want to speak about, with 5 minutes to go, 5 to 5, 5 to 1. 5 to 1.
Normally 10 to 5 minutes for Krishna. No, it's fine.
5 to 1, yeah. Shukran. With 4 minutes to go. As far as responsibility is concerned, amongst siblings, we have a duty towards one another. And there is something that's very difficult for us to digest or kind of come to terms with, right? And I said this to my younger brother, Matthew, my brother from my father's second marriage. I said to him, bro, it's not easy being a man. I'm sorry. It's not easy being a man. You're going to have to roll with the punches. Step up to the plate. You have to just take it on your chin. And you have to bear that responsibility. It's not easy coming into adulthood, especially when you're an elder brother. So for all the older brothers, the eldest brother sitting there, if you twins, whoever was born first, the elder brother, the hadith says that your elder brother is like your father. What does that tell us? That not only do I have a duty to respect my older siblings as I would respect my parents, but the older sibling has a duty towards the family in the absence of the father. So if I haven't taught my children these principles, it's going to be very difficult for them when I get to phase 3 and they're now in phase 2, and when they get to phase 3 and I'm now out the picture, to be amongst one another. There needs to be this hierarchy of kind of responsibility and authority and respect. How many of us can say that, I'm in a family where the siblings are all very close to one another, but they maintain a respectful relationship with each other, and the junior ones respect the senior ones, right? It's very, very important. I need, as a sibling, I need to understand that it's not like you must take a Adam. It's not like that. I have to step up. I have to shoulder that responsibility, and we as siblings need to be there for one another. And then, just like that, siblings for your nephews and nieces. I have a duty towards my nephews and nieces. Think about it. There's the hadith says, Al-Khalatu bi manzilatil umm. Your mother's sister is like the mother. Mother's sister is like the mother. So if my mom's not around anymore, then it's my mother's sister. And if my sister's not around anymore, I must take that responsibility of her children. We have responsibilities, and it comes with reciprocate rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when I say family, brothers and sisters in Islam, I'm going to encourage you now, this is now the end of my lecture, I'm going to encourage you to start doing research and read books on family in Islam, the concept of family, roles and responsibilities in Islam. And then we normally like to focus on husband and wife, né? My rights. My rights. And we only know what our rights are, but what rights we're supposed to fulfill, then we make every conceivable story under the sun. Right? I have a duty towards every person that I'm related to. The hadith even says, how do I honor my parents after their demise? Number 1 is to give charity on their behalf. Number 2 is to make dua for them. Number 3 is to respect and honor their friends. Because if my father had to see me respecting and honoring his friends in his lifetime, it would have made him so happy. If my mother had to see me respecting and honoring her friends after her demise, in her lifetime, then after her demise, imagine how happy it's making her. So it's not I'm by myself and I must check my own thing. And the sad reality is we grow up, now we're in phase 2, parents are in phase 3, and no, we forget about our parents because I've got a wife and children to worry about. They had wives and children to worry about too, brother. But they still maintain the relationship with their parents. And if I as a parent am not going to enforce my children's relationship with my parents, then rest assured when I'm a grandfather, your grandkids are not going to have a relationship with you because you never taught your child that. It's extremely important to teach our children the value of family, to create the environment of Ubuntu, togetherness in the family. We have to, so much Afrikaans today, we saamtrek. Let's be like a scrum. You know what I'm saying? The older ones are the forwards. Did you say sharks? Love mission. Love mission. Right? And for my nephews and nieces and uncles and aunts, you must be like the back, you must be like the forwards. You're there for support. That's what you're there for. You must be there. Oh, claim in Islam to country, brother. La ilaha illallah. I think we won the World Cup, right? So let us sit with our families and we can discuss this. But what are your gripes with regards to our family? What would you like to see more in our family? Don't be like that family. Mother's a teacher in school, and the child wrote an essay that what I would like to be when I grow up. And when the mother received all the essays, her child being in the same class, I wish I was a TV. I want to grow up to be a TV because the TV gets all the attention in my house. How many kids do you think want to grow up today to be a cell phone? Because mommy and daddy can't let the cell phone go. Mommy and daddy bought us cell phones so we can leave them so they can play with their cell phones. Think about what I'm saying. إن هذه الجوال هل تخدم الدين أم تهدم الدين? The question you ask. This phone that you're holding in your hand, are you serving the deen or are you destroying the deen with this phone? Are you serving your family or destroying your family? I have a principle. I get home after Isha, to the best of my ability, I put my phone on airplane mode. So if you try to phone me after Isha, I'm off. Leave me a WhatsApp. Because that's not the time to be sitting and talking with other people. And if you're sitting with your family, if you are giving your child a cell phone so that he can stay out of your hair, I promise you are making your child an addict. That's what you're doing. You are making your child an addict, and you are distracting your child from his right to have attention from you. And you are taking away your opportunity to grow an individual into an adult of substance. Please don't be that guy. Don't be that parent. Make your home a place where quality time is the name of the game. It must be the ethos in your home. May Allah give us tawfiq and understanding. Whatever is correct is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The barakah is Rasul, the great benefit of the right of my teachers. Whatever said that is incorrect is only my nafs and shaitan and evil and practice whisperings. And Allah will resolve completely. Friday food sales, inshallah, please do support. But don't forget, there's been an adjustment to the price. So we give you 15 rand discount for today's Jumu'ah charm.
10 rand discount.
10 rand discount. Don't charge 10 rand discount, inshallah. And then various other things that I would like to discuss and announce, but one that's very close to my heart. I sent a message to the Masjid Al Aashiqeen Faith Essentials group this morning. I don't want to say the names, but there was only one person in this masjid for Fajr besides the Mu'adhin and myself. Only one. I ask the brothers and sisters in Islam, yes, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we're in the masjid for Fajr. Definitely, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not saying this arrogantly, please don't misunderstand me. But I ask the question, where is everybody for Fajr? Nobody's going to work at 20 past 5 in the morning unless you work in Nigel. You know what I'm saying? Or in Facebook. You already sent you got a half past 5, you leave for Santa. You must be opening the office if you need Santa. Think about what I'm saying. Brothers and sisters in Islam, I'm not suggesting, please don't misunderstand, that you don't read your Fajr. Don't make that assumption. I'm asking, where are we for Fajr when we're supposed to be in the masjid? I remember a time when we had more musallis for Fajr than we had for Maghrib, which is rather insane if you think about it. Then I asked the question as well, when Maghrib is at 7:30, then there are brothers for Maghrib. But when Isha is 7:30, where are you? It's the same time. It's the same time. And I'll leave you with this as an incentive for Salah, Fajr specifically, Maghrib and Isha. بشر الزائرون المساجد في الظلمات بالنور التام يوم القيامة كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Glad tidings to those people who come to the masjid in the dark hours, as Fajr, Maghrib and Isha. Allah will give them perfect nur on the day of Qiyamah. You and I need that nur. You and I need that nur. The masjid is open again, alhamdulillah. I was so scared everybody's going to become complacent with not reading Salah in the masjid because it was closed for so long, and I fear that may have happened. Please don't become complacent. The masjid is where we must start our day. The masjid is where we must start our day. Allah give us tawfiq and understanding. Please do try and make that effort. Please do try and make that effort. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu